Have you ever noticed there's some words that just don't get used as frequently as maybe they used to? I think the word beware is one of those words. Today, we might more commonly hear people say, be careful, or watch out, or look out for. But in Matthew 24, Jesus uses the word beware. And beware is a word of warning, strong warning. And it comes in the context in Matthew 24 of the disciples asking Jesus about the end of the age and what will happen and when will it be. And Jesus prefaces what he says in Matthew 24 with our verse of the day, which is verse 4, where he says, Jesus answered them, beware that no one leads you astray. And then he goes on to say how many will come in his name and say, I'm the Messiah, and they will lead many astray. And he goes on to talk about other things that will happen, including wars and rumors of wars. And he says, see that you are not alarmed, for this must take place, but the end is not yet. And he goes on to talk about nation rising up against nation, and famines and earthquakes in various places, and how this is just the beginning. Before the final end of the age. What I want to focus on, though, is Jesus' word of warning to beware that many will be led astray. And we don't want that to happen to us. The sad truth of Christianity is that throughout the history of our faith, from the very beginning to the present, there are many people who claim the name of Jesus, who attest that they are faithful, biblical, devoted followers of Christ. But in fact, the fruit of their lives and the fruit of their lips and their actions betray the fact that they are not actually following Jesus. Now, some people would say, well, how dare you say such a thing? Doesn't Jesus say not to judge other people and to take the plank out of our own eye before we try to take out the speck of sawdust in our neighbor's eye? Well, that's true. And we need to be appropriately humble and wise and discerning. But at the same time, the same Jesus who tells us to take the plank out of our own eye also tells us to be as wise as serpents and innocent as doves and not to be led astray. And there are false prophets, false teachers, people who, as Jesus says elsewhere, are wolves in sheep's clothing. So beware and be careful of who you listen to, who you read, who you deem worthy of your respect and your time when it comes to Christian leaders and teachers and those who proclaim themselves to be. Because Jesus says there are going to be many false people who will lead many astray, and we don't want that to happen to us.